Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Success Principles by Jack Canfield Book Club, as Danny's just called it. It's not a book club; it's a study group,
Mastermind.
a success study group. And his book is also subtitled "How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be." And this is week one. It's an introduction week. So we're not going to actually really be covering any of the content of the book today, but really it's about introducing the book. Agreeing a time that's suitable for everybody. If 8 p.m. on a Wednesday conflicts with football, various different games are on tonight. So I think a lot of the chaps aren't here, and various other things. So we shall see how we go. We'll have a chat about it in a moment. But I just wanted to start off by just running through this kind of quick presentation of an intro to the book. So we'll start off then. Why the success principles? Well, I think pretty much the timing of it is just seems to be about right. In fact, everybody I speak to at the moment is talking about the success principles. They're either reading it, have read it, or about to read it, and timing couldn't be perfect to start on this. And in his words, in Jack's words, the success principles is not a book of ideas. It's a set of timeless principles used by successful men and women throughout history. So it sounds pretty good to me, and if it's good enough for successful men and women throughout history, it's good enough for me. And Jack has actually been studying this book for 30 years, and he's just a little bit successful. So I thought I should have a go as well. And actually, if everyone else is reading it, why not start off this call and share ideas? Now, he kind of goes on in the book about, if you read the first chapter, the intro, there's about 3 pages of this stuff about how good he is. It kind of definitely proves that his success principles work by him following them. And he wasn't born into wealth either. His mother was an alcoholic. His father was a workaholic who worked in a flower shop. So he's definitely, he's achieved what he's achieved from nothing, and learned these principles and applied them, and got where he's got in life. But the principles always work if you work the principles, and I think it's safe to say that just like anything in life, you have to apply them for them to work. And as we were saying earlier, Matt was talking about earlier on that. We all quite often buy books, we read them, and then take no action. Now, how many times have we all done that? You get to the end of the 7 habits, as you were saying earlier, Matt, and then have you actually applied any of those habits? So this is an opportunity for us all to work together on these principles, apply what we've learned, share with each other, and actually be accountable to each other. So, we can share experiences and make sure that we're on track with actually achieving what we want to achieve out of it. I quite like this quote that's in the book. It's you can't hire someone else to do push-ups for you. It's from Jim Rohn. So you must do them yourself to get any value out of them. So if you're looking for that 6-pack, then you can't outsource push-ups. It's not going to work. Maybe chuckle. So the same applies here. If you don't apply this stuff to your own life, then you won't get the results. So in terms of the book structure, then there's actually quite a lot in the main book. If you've had a look through, there's actually 6 sections. So the fundamentals of success, transform yourself to success, build your successful team, create successful relationships, success and money, and success starts now. We're actually going to be focusing on just the first section in this, which is the fundamentals of success. And it's depending on which version you've bought, there's 25 principles that we're going to be working on here to go through. And I was thinking originally that it might be 1 principle per week, but actually the reality is we could probably do 2 or 3 of them at a time, perhaps, depending on which ones it is. But we'll start off with 1 at a time, and then we can play it by ear from there. But effectively, if we do 1 at a time, that's 25 weeks, half a year, to go through and get to the end of this. So it's very much about commitment. If you're in for this, then it's going to be a fairly long haul to get to the end of it. But I think, if we follow this through and apply what we're learning, then it could be quite powerful stuff. So you might be thinking, what if I bought the wrong book? Well, don't worry too much about that, because I'm going to be working off this book here, the Success Principles, which is the 10-year edition. And there is actually another book called, which is released more recently, I believe.
There you go. That's what you got.
How to get from where you are to where you want to be, the 25 Principles of Success, which actually almost the same book. I think the first 7 or 8 chapters are absolutely identical. And then there's a couple missing out of this as we go through. And then there's some extra stuff being put in the other book. So what I'll do is I'll work it so that we cover it from both books. If you have bought this book, then don't worry. We'll make sure we'll cover the content on both. Does that make sense? Okay, so how to read the book. Well, I quite like this quote that he puts in there. Believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, even if I've said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. That's from Buddha. So it's like, if it doesn't resonate with you, then you're not going to take it in and believe it and apply it. So I think with all of this stuff, you need to read it, understand it yourself, talk about it, share the ideas, and only then can you make sense of it and apply it. So how do we go about it? Well, there's a few options, I suppose. You can either read all of it and then read along as we go along each week, or you could just choose to read a chapter in advance of next week. So next week's chapter is going to be chapter 1. And I suggest that you, at minimum, read chapter 1 once prior to the event next week. But some might say, I'm glad you're on the call, Matt. Some might say that you should read this chapter every day in the entire week leading up to that event. What do you think, Matt? Is that a good idea?
I agree. I absolutely agree.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think you need to take it. You need to get emotionally involved, and then it will sink in.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, that's good enough for me.
It's quite a lot of pressure, and people then will drop out probably.
How long is it? How long is the chapter? How many pages?
It's on my Kindle. It's about 15 pages, but I think in reality it's probably about 10. It's not massive. Each one's quite small.
The thing is,
but it's up to you at the end of the day. Read it, underline it, highlight it, make notes, whatever works for you. It's up to you how you do this. I mean, some people would get a benefit out of reading it every day. And like you say, Matt, some people might get put off. It's too much of a commitment. So I think as a minimum, then if all of us agree that we should read it once in the week preceding as a minimum. Oh yeah, is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's actually 16 pages in the book. 16
pages, okay. All right. In terms of how I think this should work, and I'm completely open to suggestion on this, but I thought what would be quite useful as a format is kind of a welcome and a discussion really from last week's chapter. So just to kind of review and just look at what actions people are taking. So spend sort of 5 minutes on that. And then I'm going to be putting together a little presentation like this, which kind of goes through what I've learned from the chapter. And not too long, about 5-10 minutes, and pick out the key points that I think are important, and then open it up to a discussion so we can all have a chat about various different things, anything else anyone's highlighted and wants to discuss, and make it a bit of an open discussion forum. But then I think the important bit is that we set actions. So we actually agree an action point from each session to say, right, if it's one about setting visions or setting goals, then we agree these actions and report back on the following week. So you're all happy with that as a kind of starting suggestion for the format?
Yep. Cool.
And I think it should take about an hour, maybe less. I think this one is probably going to take a lot less than an hour. But I really want it to be capped at an hour, absolute maximum. So I'll be working to. I know we've got this Zoom license. We've actually got as long as we like, but I think we should be strict on that and cut it off at an hour. And I'm also going to be looking for volunteers. So I'm not necessarily suggesting I should run every single one of them. So if someone wants to volunteer to run one, then by all means, jump on board and have a go. And we did this with the previous kind of book study groups that we did, the calls at 6 a.m. that we were talking about earlier. And that was great when we rotated the person who was looking after it and running it, because it really kind of made that person focus that week and learn it. And it's what it's all about. You really want to engage in it. So if you're up for that, please contact me and let me know if you're interested in having a go.
Yep.
I'm glad someone said something there. Thank you, Candy. I was expecting silence there for a minute. This book, it comes with a warning, believe it or not. It's quite interesting. It says, this book is set to change your life. If you haven't been through this is what I put. It's as if you haven't been through enough change already recently. For all you Arbonne people, I'm sure you've been through a fair amount of fast-paced change, so it won't be a particular shock for you. He says you might get excited. You may feel frustrated that you didn't know all this earlier. Take a deep breath. This is all part of the journey. Everything in the past has actually been perfect. Everything in the past has led you to this transformational moment in time. Everyone has already done the best that they knew at that time. You're now about to know more. Celebrate your awareness. It's about to set you free. That's his kind of his warning, which is I quite like that. And he also says, why isn't it working faster? It warns that you might wonder, why isn't all this working faster when you learn these principles? And as we all know, I'm sure everyone on the call knows this already, is that success takes time, effort, perseverance and patience. Applying these principles will achieve your goals. You will realize your dreams, but it won't happen overnight. You're going to come across obstacles. You'll feel temporarily stuck. This is absolutely normal. Don't give up. You will break through. And he finishes with a quote on this intro. It's time to start living the life you've always imagined. So that pretty much sums up the intro to the book, and it's kind of what compelled me to read on. When I kind of read all of that stuff, it's exactly what I wanted to hear when I picked up the success principles, and it kind of makes you excited about what you're going to learn from these principles as you read through. So next week we're going to be focusing on chapter 1, which is take 100% responsibility for your life. Okay. So over to you guys. I'm just going to cancel sharing and open for discussion.
Take 100% responsibility. That's what I remember. That was the one line that stuck in my head from the first time I read it. And when I read that in the first chapter, I was like, yeah, I'm going to love this book. It's great. Really good.
Cool.
Except I've lent it to someone. I have no idea where it is.
Oh, no. Oh, you've got to get it back.
Maybe it's in the box.
So does that all make sense? Are you happy that that's the kind of structure of the call?
Yeah, I think it's really good as well for people to take turns, John, or to get volunteers. Because it's kind of the growth thing to do that, to make a little presentation and then deliver it. I think everyone will get a lot from doing that themselves as well. Yeah,
I'm quite happy to do the first couple to get it all moving. But is anyone fancy putting their thumb up to volunteer now?
Mary Carr will do that.
Mary Carr, well volunteered.
No, not yet. No.
Excellent, thank you. I'll be looking for more volunteers from everybody else.
Can we use your note thing though, your note format?
Yeah, I'll send that over to you if you like. Yeah, you can follow that, no problems. Yeah, it only took me about half an hour to chuck that together. I read the chapters and just summarised some of the key points out of it. But I think as we go through the first chapter, then it's the action points is the thing that we really want to focus on and make sure that we leave this call with an action plan, or maybe we even do some of the actions in the call. There's some of it where it actually makes you stop right at that moment and think about your situation and what you want to achieve and creating a vision and your desire and all that kind of stuff, it might be actually worth trying to do it in the call rather than handing it over.
Remember, it says if you're not happy in your marriage, leave it, or
yeah. Not the intention that we're going to cause any breakups or anything.
you hate your job, leave it.
Yeah, that's what Bob says. If you wanna buy a house, just go and buy it. Yeah, right.
So what about the time slot? Are you guys all right with 8 o'clock on a Wednesday?
Pretty perfect for me.
Yeah.
What if we were to make it slightly earlier or slightly later? Would everyone be happy with that? Just like if
later's okay. Earlier is a bit of a push.
Okay. Yeah. I think when I started talking about this before, I suggested 8 o'clock, and there were quite a few people that said they couldn't make it for different reasons. But so what I might do is I might put it out on Facebook and just see if what the general consensus is, and we could maybe shift it around a little bit. But from my point of view, being selfish, I'm quite happy. 8 o'clock is absolutely perfect for me on a Wednesday, so I'd like to stick with this time if we can.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're all happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So I think that probably covers everything. Unless anyone else has got anything.
Ask a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Jen, have you got 2 spiders on your back wall?
Yes. I noticed that. No, it's a dragon tree.
Oh, okay.
Always the interior designer can.
Well, all I could see was the top of it, and it looked like a couple of spiders, really big spiders about to.
Shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it. It's 8:25. So we can wrap it up unless anyone else has got anything to add at this time. We're going to be aiming for 8 o'clock next Wednesday. And I would like you all to have read the first chapter. And it's chapter 1, take 100% responsibility of your life.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Right. Fantastic.
Hey, sir.
Can't get anyone else to read it for you.
Yeah, you can get one of your boys to read it for you if you like, can you?
That's not taking 100% responsibility.
Yeah, can you read the one?
Great. Okay, thanks everybody.
Okay, see you next
See you
week.
next week.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.